At 78 years old, David Letterman sits in a quiet room filled with memories, each one whispering stories louder than the present. Today, we look at his journey, not through the glitz, not through the applause, but through the quiet tragedies that shaped the man behind the desk.
There is a certain stillness that surrounds the life of David Letterman at 78, a stillness that does not make headlines, does not spark debate, and certainly does not resemble the roaring laughter that once echoed through late-night television studios. Instead, it is a stillness made of time, dense, heavy, and unavoidably honest. It is in this stillness that the quiet tragedies of David Letterman's life begin to unfold slowly, almost reluctantly, like old pages turning in a dusty book that hasn't been opened in years. David Letterman, a name once synonymous with late-night rebellion, irony-soaked humor, and the kind of comedic timing that seemed to come from another dimension, now finds himself remembered more as an iconic figure of television history than as a man, continuing to walk through life. Though the spotlight has dimmed, the weight of his experiences has only grown heavier, revealing that behind the beard, behind the calm tone, behind the legendary career, there lies a story far less glamorous than the world once believed. His tragedy is not loud, it is not sudden, and it is not a single event. Instead, it is slow, it is cumulative, it is the type of tragedy that builds year after year, moment after moment, shaping itself out of loneliness, aging, regret, and the emotional consequences of spending a lifetime entertaining others while carrying his own unresolved battles. To understand the heartbreaking dimension of David Letterman's journey at 78, we must begin not at the height of his fame, not at the moments of triumph, and not even at the scandals that once consumed tabloids, but at the quiet memories that now linger in his mind long after the applause faded. The weight of time has always been an invisible character in David Letterman's life. It waited behind the stage curtains, sat beside him at the late show desk, and followed him home after each taping. But at 78, time is no longer a background extra, it's the main character. Every day, as he wakes up and looks through the quiet Colorado air, he is reminded of how drastically life has changed. Once, he saw lights, cameras, bustling crew members, guests lining up backstage. Today, he sees mountains, wind, and silence. The contrast is jarring, even for a man who has made peace with change. This silence is both comforting and haunting because it forces reflection, and reflection, for someone like Letterman, comes with its own tragedy. The tragedy of regret. People often assume television hosts live without regret, as though success overwrites mistakes. But Letterman carries regrets quietly, regrets about relationships, about mistakes he publicly apologized for, about time lost with loved ones, and about years spent pursuing perfection on screen while feeling deeply imperfect off-screen. Regret is a slow-burning tragedy. It doesn't explode. It sits in the corner of your life, waiting for you to grow old enough to notice it. At 78, David notices everything.
He notices the years lost to work. He notices the nights when humor could not distract him from personal storms. He notices the emotional distance created by a career built on constant pressure. And he notices how age has simplified everything except the human heart. The tragedy of being misunderstood. For decades, Letterman was known for being sarcastic, distant, hard to read, someone who rarely expressed emotions openly. This made him iconic, but it also made him misunderstood. Audiences saw the sharp-tongued comedian. They rarely saw the insecure man behind the jokes. Guests saw the witty interviewer. They didn't see the self-critical perfectionist who replayed mistakes in his mind long after the cameras stopped. This emotional duality has always been part of his tragedy. Because even today, despite his interviews, his documentaries, his conversations, many people still don't fully understand him. They see the beard, the new calmness, the introspective tone, but they don't see the burdens he carries beneath it all. The tragedy of aging in the spotlight. Aging is universal. Aging in front of millions is not. David Letterman is part of a rare generation that grew older with the public watching every step. People commented on his hairline, on to realizing that some people only stay as long as the camera stays on. This is not loneliness, this is isolation wrapped in nostalgia. And nostalgia, when it becomes too heavy, turns into tragedy. The tragedy of health. While he has never publicly revealed every detail about his health, aging naturally brings complications, pain in the joints, fatigue, medication, regular checkups, emotional vulnerability, and the quiet fear that comes with being nearly 80. Every doctor's visit reminds him that time is not forgiving. Every twinge of pain reminds him of his mortality. Every memory of his heart surgery reminds him how fragile life can be. At 78, the body becomes its own storyteller, one that tells the truth whether you want to hear it or not. The tragedy of the past is heavy, especially for someone who lived through scandal, guilt, and public apology. Those moments might be years behind him, but emotionally they live much closer. He knows people still remember. He knows he hurt loved ones. He knows the world watched the most painful moment of his private life unfold publicly. Time softens wounds but never completely erases them. At 78, he carries the emotional residue of a past that refuses to disappear. The tragedy of success. Success is often seen as the opposite of tragedy. But for David Letterman, success came with loneliness, pressure, anxiety, and constant expectations. To be successful for decades requires sacrifice. He sacrificed sleep. He sacrificed time with family. He sacrificed emotional comfort. He sacrificed privacy. He sacrificed peace. And now, at 78, with his show behind him and the applause no longer echoing, he is left holding the aftermath of a life devoted to the entertainment of others. This is not a loud tragedy. It is a quiet, personal one. The tragedy of a legacy he cannot control. Legacy is a strange thing. You build it for decades. You hope it will reflect your heart. But once it leaves your hands, it becomes whatever the world decides. Today, younger generations discover Letterman through edited clips, out-of-context moments, algorithm-driven recommendations. His legacy is now filtered sometimes fairly, sometimes unfairly by strangers he has never met. He cannot control how he is remembered. He cannot control which clips go viral. He cannot control which truths that only someone his age can understand. And yet, he can only observe. Observation without action is a slow tragedy, one filled with emotional weight. The tragedy of a heart that never stopped feeling. Despite the sarcasm, the jokes, the awkward pauses, and the detached on-screen persona, David Letterman has always been emotional, sensitive, thoughtful, deeply reflective. Some may see this as a strength, but for Letterman, it has also been a lifelong burden.